I'm Alden Darby, former Arizona State Sun Devil, and you are now tuned in to the Harris Highlight Show. Go Devils!
Coming to you live from the beautiful Arizona State campus in the beautiful downtown Phoenix, Arizona area. This is episode 12 of the Harris Highlight Show. I almost forgot how to say that because it's been so long. Gentlemen, it's been a long break. Did we do anything fun over the break?
I'll be the first to go, and I'll respond with that question with a solid no.
Shocker.
What'd you do? Just stay in bed the whole time?
That's exactly what I did.
That sounds pretty great.
Braden and I broadcasted a basketball game for ASU, and they actually won. High five.
Nice. Forks out.
Yeah, they won. Surprising. It was a good game. 13,000 people there.
Oh,
Nice. They all left disappointed.
It was
not a home game.
It was, as the kids nowadays say, lit.
Very nice. I do like
It
things
was
that are
dope.
lit. Man, I mentioned this earlier, but I was surprised and overwhelmed by the amount of people that were asking how long until the next show. Because I guess when I posted the video last month saying it was our last episode of 2016, people didn't make the connection that it was the last episode of the year, not in general. So a lot of people were scared, sad, upset that the show was done. It is not done. We are coming back in full force for about, I think, we're going to have 16 episodes, I think, this year, and pretty much until we're done with school in May. So
I like that.
I'm down with that.
if you guys like the show, well, we got a lot coming. Now, before we get into bowl season, by the way, what an incredible bowl season that was, we do have some things we'd like to cover first. As you may have heard, the show had a different introduction. It wasn't our annoying voices saying whatever.
Wow, thanks.
Annoying.
That was former Sun Devil Alden Darby. I don't know if you guys remember him a few years back. Great player, good friend of mine. So Alden, thank you for introducing the show. Guys, go show him some love on Twitter, Instagram, MySpace, Snapchat, whatever it is.
Venmo.
Say thank you and
like
go
money paying out.
Devils.
Don't do that.
Now, also really quickly before we went away last break, we had a little Bowl Mania challenge going on. Now, over 600 people signed up for it.
That's nice.
Over 600
Good
people,
number. Good
and
number.
sadly, none of us had the highest score. Now, Spencer and I, we made some good runs though.
We made a good comeback.
Like, we came out of nowhere. We almost took the lead, but some last-minute decisions on our teams, they kind of screwed us over. But hey, we still did a great job. But congratulations to the winner, Jack A. Napes 2, who had 31 games correct. A round of applause to you. So, Jack.
Lyle, clap.
Shut up, Josh.
So, right now.
Lyle's in a meeting right now.
I guess
guys.
Lyle didn't know he had a meeting right now, so he's in that right now. He'll be back soon. But Jackie Napes 2, congratulations for having the most points. If you're listening to this right now, screenshot. Hopefully somehow you can screenshot that you're the winner. Send it to me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and that way you could be receiving your new gift card coming to you in the mail. Or, via email. However it's done nowadays. However they do it nowadays, whatever, blah. But thank you everyone for participating. It was a great time. I like competing against you guys. Hopefully next year we can double that amount, have over 1,000 people in it,
Cool.
and maybe do well. I mean, won't take much to do better than Josh, that's for sure.
Yo, whoa. I got like 13 out of the last 17 right. So I made a comeback.
What'd you finish with, 14?
I finished with like 24. I was too far behind at the
24.
beginning. But the fact that I got like 13 or 14 out of the last 19, I think is kind of impressive.
It's a good run.
It's a good run.
I'll give you that.
I just didn't talk about it in the group chat because I started so poorly.
Yeah, you start. Brady, how about you in the Pick'em Bowl Mania?
Well, we were talking about this earlier, and
was it worth mentioning?
Well, we were talking about this earlier, and Blake was like, at one point he looked at the standings, and there was one person. It was like 15 games in. They got all of them wrong. And I was just sitting in the corner crying because that was me.
It happens to the best of us, okay? My dad, who knows nothing about college football, he got 26, one less than me. So it just goes to show you that, anything can happen.
Yeah,
My
so-
dad was in it too, and he says, "Hey, I want to get in on this podcast thing you guys were doing." So I was like, "All right, I'll show you how to do it." So I make him an ESPN account. So I log out of mine, log into his. So I make him an account. He goes through and picks all the games on his own, and then he says, "All right, there you go." And I said, "Cool, thanks for joining, Dad." So I go back into mine. Well, always write down your passwords because I didn't write down any of the stuff from my dad. So throughout the entire Bowl Mania, I'd say, "Oh, I just got this game wrong," and he says, "Oh, well, how am I doing?" And I'd say, "You're doing fantastic," because I have no idea how he did. Sorry.
Some other fun, exciting news we want to share with you is the first ever Harris Highlights Award Show. Now, what we did, we compiled a little list, had a little fun at the end. I think it was 20, right, Brady? 20 different.
21.
21. All right, 21.
20 questions, but then the last one's sort of a free response.
Yeah, of course. So about a good, nice little 20 takes about a minute long. A fun little poll thing about the past college football season. A fun time to. I had fun filling it out. I don't know about you guys, but so if you have a few
Not gonna
minutes.
lie, I haven't filled it out yet.
Oh, I'm not surprised with that. So if you guys have a few minutes, the link will be in the description. Go and fill it out. And for the next show, we will unveil the winners for the award show. Now, this is the real award show that really matters. Not the Heisman, not the ESPYs,
Globes.
not the college football award show, aside from the Kicker of the Year award, which is the greatest trophy ever, and the St. Gonzalez won that award. But this is the award show that matters, so it's going to be a fun time. So like I said, if you have a minute or two, vote, share it with your friends. If your parents, they know nothing about it, have them vote too, because we want people to vote. And it seems like we have a lot of things to talk about before we get into this, but some very exciting news as well. Well, potential exciting news. We are launching the Harris Highlights merchandise store. Well, I say we, but Brady, because he's doing all the work, because none of us know how to do any of that.
Working on it now.
Working on it now.
We just come up with ideas.
We just come up with the ideas, he does all the work. But we're going to have Don't Sleep on Chattanooga merch, Zane for Heisman merch, Harris Highlights Show merch, maybe some other merch. We'll have to wait and see.
Coming to you live.
Yeah,
Chattanooga merch?
We're going to have
said that.
we're going to have
Wait,
shirts.
Get off of Tinder, Spencer.
Not on Tinder.
We're going to have t-shirts, pants, leggings, the perfect gift for your girl. We got clocks, pillows.
So you know that it's not time to sleep on.
So it's not time to sleep. We're gonna have a lot of merch. Probably not gonna be ready by the time the show goes up, but in the future we will keep you updated with all of that information.
I'll tell you this now. We'll put the link in the bio right now. It'll just keep a look on it. We have a couple things right now. We got the Don't Sleep on Chattanooga, the Coming to You Live, and Zane for Heisman are all live right now.
They're all live. So if you love the show, if you love all those great sayings, purchase them. We'd love to see them. So send us pictures, and you'll make it on the show.
And also, if you have any ideas for things that we can put on our
True.
shirts, hit us up. I'll make some stuff for
They
you.
have to be related to the show.
Yeah, to the show. It can just be like Spencer sucks, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll
I
make
would
something.
buy that. I
I'm
would buy
fine.
that.
We'll make something.
I'm not okay.
All right, guys. Well, man.
Oh, look,
That
I've been
was
impaled.
that was a lot. Well, I guess when you're gone for a month and you take a break, there's a lot of new things that happen. So it's some very exciting stuff. But now it is time to talk college football as we always do. And the other night there was a little national championship game that happened. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but I did.
Was that the FCS one?
The FCS one. That was a great game. Also, I was getting a lot of messages saying how come Chattanooga's not in the FCS title game.
Because they lost.
Yeah, for that very reason. So
not
unfortunately,
remind me,
Chattanooga was
please?
not in the FCS title game. I think it was James Madison,
James
that
Madison.
won. So shout out to the was it James Madison that took down North Dakota State?
I believe. Was it? I think
No,
so.
this is why we need a fact checker in the studio, but that's okay. We may be wrong, but hey.
Normally me.
Wait, first, let's talk about that
good.
Chattanooga game. We actually did watch it, and Blake was actually very upset when they
I
lost.
was.
They made a little bit of a comeback, I believe.
They had a great
too.
comeback at the end, but unfortunately, they just couldn't get it done. But hey, next year they have a brand new head coach,
Yeah, they do.
so they're going to be coming back strong. They actually
What
have.
about the Brazilian kicker? Is he coming back?
I think he's coming back. They also.
The quarterback's coming back too.
I've been looking at mock drafts, and they have a guy on defense
Mock
who's
drafts?
mock drafts.
Oh, yeah.
Mocks.
Oh, yeah.
Mock. What did I say? Mock drafts.
Yes, but the Chattanooga Mocs.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go, ass cheeks.
That's a great one. But I was looking at mock drafts, and there's a Chattanooga defensive player. Don't know his name. I'm sorry, but he's projected to go like third or fourth round.
Hey, don't sleep on him.
So there you go. Do not sleep. But anyway, speaking of that, we want to talk about the Alabama-Clemson game, and woo-wee, was that a
boy.
game. Now, I think I should start this one off. The entire year, I didn't really hate on Clemson. I just did not give them their due. I felt kind of like I said yesterday, exactly like Colin Cowherd. I did not believe in Clemson. I didn't, they had a lot of close games, and I said they were overhyped. In all of my college football playoff rankings, I never really had them. And a lot of people gave me backlash for that. And I said, hey, no worry, just wait till the playoffs come. Well, they proved me wrong in that Ohio State game. 31-0, that was a hell of a game. Clemson looked amazing. And then showing up against Alabama, who I think I've said for a few weeks, I think is one of the 5 or 10 greatest college football teams ever assembled, and they came ready to play. Well, I guess they didn't come ready to play because they were down 14-0, but they stormed back, had a great game. So Clemson, hell of a season. I tip my hat off to you. You guys proved me wrong. You guys look great out there, and it sure is good seeing another team to have that national champions thing behind it, because I don't know about you guys, I was getting kind of tired of Alabama
I was just
constantly
about to say,
winning.
it's good to see not Alabama hoisting the trophy every year.
But damn, like, okay, I'm seeing
That
these.
game-
I'm seeing these.
I thought that too.
I'm seeing these posts that people are saying how that's one of the greatest national championships of all time, top 5. You guys, what are your thoughts on the game? Is it one of the best? Did we experience something great? Let's hear about it.
I say it is one of the top 3 college football playoff championships of all time.
Well,
Obviously.
Think about that, though.
But there's only been 3.
There you go,
There
Blake.
go, right on the nose.
But man, that we truly witnessed something great there. I didn't think Clemson was going to be able to do the comeback they did, but they did. So guys, like, look, I want to hear your thoughts on the game though.
Well, let me start off by saying that 2005 Rose Bowl between Texas and USC, that was the national championship, and I think that is still going to go down as the best, if not the best, one of the top 3, top 5 championships. Or
I just think
Rose Bowls of all
I think
time.
it's the greatest
But
college football game ever.
I totally agree with you. I think that this
As
bowl
tough
game,
as that is to admit.
yeah, it's tough, but it helps that SC rebounded and finally got back there this year. But with the fact that this national championship was a comeback, and the last couple drives it was back and forth, the fact that we were all gathered around this TV on that last play screaming at each other what we would do in this situation. None of us agreed with each other, by the way.
Yeah.
We're going,
no.
run it. Lyle's going, pass it. And we're saying, you're a Seahawks fan. What the hell are you talking about?
I'm going settle for the field goal. Don't throw an intercept. Like, we're literally completely all off.
Brady saying take a knee.
But and just
I'm the one who actually knows strategic football.
but man,
Ass cheek? What is
so
that supposed to mean?
I mean, we got
We all know
the
football.
Yes, I know, but like game planning for playing for so long, I was saying they're gonna throw a short pass
Well,
because
yeah,
you
we all
don't have
knew
enough
they were
time
gonna
to run it.
We all knew they were going to throw that short pass.
I didn't.
Alabama didn't.
I didn't. But I mean, so we have, first of all, we got a rematch of a title game.
I
we
think
got
that's the best thing
We got
about
the
it.
underdog. Like, Clemson was completely the underdogs. We got an amazing comeback. First, the thing that people forget is, too, Clemson took that lead with, 3 or 4 minutes left, and everyone's going, all right, Clemson's going to win. Or Alabama, they just drove down that field. Jalen Hurts had that, 40-yard run. Now everyone's going, oh,
Well,
geez,
wait.
Alabama's up now with, 2 minutes to go. It's over. And Deshaun Watson said, no, no, no.
Well, let me propose something.
Deshaun Watson said, "Now watch this drive."
Now watch this drive.
Let me propose one, maybe 2 questions for you guys. One, at the time that this game started, by kickoff time, do you really think Clemson was the underdog after the way that they torched Ohio State?
They
Quickly,
still
just
were.
yes
Yes.
or no?
Yes.
You think so?
I'd like to believe so.
I think they were.
I think they were, but their mindset
They were
was,
just getting a lot more media attention than they originally would have.
Well, I
I
mean,
think.
yeah. I mean, if you're able to shut out Ohio State like that, you're
Yeah.
obviously able to build some confidence on
But
that.
I still think that is a lot on Ohio State, because how can that Ohio State team, I said, was the second best team in the country. You can argue third or fourth or fifth.
A lot
The
of
fact that
people
they
did,
scored
too.
0 points. I think that's like Urban Meyer's first
I think
ever
that's-
time getting shut out.
This is something I think we really need to talk about later, especially when we talk about more of the bowl season stuff. But then let me propose this second question. With the way, okay, yes, Clemson goes down and takes the lead, but then Bama gets the lead right back. The thought process going through my head was they still have a whole lot of time to go down the field and score.
Oh, yeah.
However, with the way that their offense had been so lackluster throughout the entire course of the game, I thought the game was over. Did they have enough time?
Well,
Of
I mean, I
course,
think there's one
but-
person to thank for that last drive, and that's one Mike Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Because the catches that
Mike
he
Williams.
had, kind of, I mean, that saved them. And then, I don't know, I think it was Leggett who made that one diving catch, on the 10-yard line. There was just some incredible plays that were happening on that last drive. But, man, that... Can you ask for anything better? I mean, they won with... There was 1 second on the clock when
Could
they
you
scored that
think of
touchdown.
a more deserving player to catch that game?
No
winning
way.
pass?
No one
Other than
else.
Renfrew? No, that's...
Hunter.
If you don't know what a story is, I think I don't want to get into it, but he walked on, and there's that picture where there were 2 5-star people guarding him. So it
sent
just
that
goes
to
to
you.
show, live your dreams, follow your dreams. But that was truly an amazing game. Honored to watch it. I'm kind of bummed, though, because Spencer and I were saying after the game we're going to go on a run. But first of all, the game didn't end until 11 o'clock our time because that was a long game. And second, I had
Run
to work.
as in physically, not like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Run isn't physically because we're trying to get in shape.
Yeah, we're
And
trying to
then,
get
too, because
fit.
I had to edit a video that got taken out by Disney. Shout out to Disney. But that was just an incredible game. Shout out to Clemson. I mean, a Clemson-Alabama rematch next year?
No.
Potentially?
No.
No, 3 for
No.
3?
I think one of the funniest things about this whole game was we were talking about the walk-on and caught the pass, but the funniest thing that happened throughout the whole game was what Kirk Cousins posted on Twitter.
Oh, Bo.
Bo. If
Yep.
you look at a picture, a side-by-side picture of Kirk Cousins in 10th grade and Bo Scarborough in 10th grade, you now know why
Two different
Cousins
people.
didn't go to Alabama.
Now, speaking of Bo really quick, if Bo doesn't hurt his knee, is it a different outcome in
He
the game?
broke his leg in half.
Yeah, so if that doesn't happen...
I was thinking the same thing because I'm not going to say he carried that Alabama team.
The first
but
half he did.
He was a big factor for the Alabama
Those
offense.
runs, my goodness. While I was making comparisons to Marshawn Lynch, and we're just going, if Marshawn Lynch was like 200 pounds heavier
Yeah.
and a foot taller and on steroids, but
But he played a big factor, and so once you take away Bo, I mean, you still have the Alabama offense and everything like that, but you don't have Bo. How much of impact would he have had with the last fourth quarter, with the last half game remaining?
Unfortunately, I think that this is an argument that you can't make.
That's true, but you just wonder sometimes.
well, here's something I also want to wonder
exactly.
about this, though. What was the deal with Alabama's coverage on that Clemson onside kick? There was no one even near that ball.
Well, I think the thing was if you watch the rotation and spin of the ball, it got a backspin bounce, so it stalled in the air. Alabama was thinking, this isn't going to go 10 yards. We're going to get the ball. We're going to get a free play.
But still, the thing is, though, even if you dive on it with that 1 second, would the clock still run out, or would you still have that 1 second to have one final play? Because they would have been on their, the 50-yard line or so. So they have to be at least thinking, someone dive on this ball. I thought that was a terrible
But
decision.
the last thing you want to do is if you go to dive on the ball and it slips
And
out
don't get it, and the
don't
game's
get
over.
it, clock ends there, you don't get a play.
Just imagine though if Alabama would have recovered and they would have had 1 second with the one final play on the 50-yard line for one Hail Mary. And Jalen Hurts, you could put Jalen Hurts on his own 30.
He's younger than every single person on
Jalen
the show,
Hurts-
and 4 of us are freshmen, by the way.
Jalen Hurts has an arm, so he would have gotten that ball. Oh, can we just imagine really quick if somehow that he would have done a Hail Mary
Did an
and they would
Aaron
have caught
Rodgers
it?
type of thing?
Aaron Rodgers,
And
oh
then
man.
just imagine that. Clemson scores with 1 second left to
And you
take the
thought the
lead,
Rose Bowl
and then
ending was
Alabama
nice.
throws.
That- Picture
if
of
he-
that
if he makes
happened.
that wipes. I think that maybe not
Oh.
greatest college football game of all time,
Greatest-
but you can throw in national championship. You can throw in greatest ending of all
Greatest
time, and
ending
you
of
know
all
what?
time.
For a
and
sports
that
game.
would take away the Iron Bowl kick six for Bama
Ooh.
fans. That's
Oh,
gone.
for Bama fans.
Nothing will ever take that away. Nothing will ever take that away. But
Chris
not for
Davis.
Auburn.
just to see that play, just to think about if they could have had that Hail Mary at the end. What if? But we'll never know. But what we do know is that there was another pretty damn good game that happened, which we were all saying was the best bowl season game without a doubt until the national championship game happened. And that was the Popeyes Bahama Bowl, guys. What a game that
I thought
was.
you were going to talk about the points in Yetta Bowl, dude.
The points. I forgot.
Brady said that game was exhilarating.
That was another great game. But no,
That was a lit.
I mean, I'm not much of a flower guy, but I was sure smelling roses about a week and a half ago. Guys, the Rose Bowl, what a game!
man.
I'm gonna let Spencer and Brady talk about this first. We'll get on it next, guys. What did you think about that game?
Can I go first because I'm unbiased?
Yeah, sure.
Because, Spencer hates USC. Being neutral,
I think you were as most neutral
I
as
am.
you could have been for that game too.
Go to a Pac-12 school, but likes a Big Ten.
but
team.
I'm from the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Yes.
true.
Absolutely. I was actually at my friend's house who's a huge USC fan. Shout out, Goldblatt. That was crazy. This game, I think the game itself, not saying the ending, not saying the comeback, but the game itself was the absolute best game we could have asked for.
Overall
I'm not
game.
saying because I think the Clemson-Alabama ending was better, but the game itself for USC Penn State was the best game I've seen all year.
I agree with that. Spencer?
To start off, it was an absolute roller coaster of emotion for me.
And how?
Oh my God.
That's what made the game so great, was that we hit the lowest of lows and we hit the highest of highs. For the first 2 drives for Penn State, tell me, Josh Schaefer, what does Trace McSorley do?
He throws 2 passes and 2
passes.
interceptions.
2 interceptions. And by the time that happened, I believe the score was 10-0 USC. Field
was.
goal, then touchdown. I'm thinking in the back of my mind, oh God.
It was 13-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, and I knew Penn State was a second half team, but I mean you're dealing with USC. You're dealing with a red hot team, just like Penn State, and Penn State's starting off with cold feet. I thought there was a thought in my mind where I'm going, this game could get like out of hand fast.
Ugly.
And then Trace McSorley actually completed passes
Yeah, he did.
to his own
Well,
team.
thanks to miraculous catches by Chris Godwin. I mean, he was one-handing them. He was diving for him. He was making some good ones.
He was making great catches.
I mean, Saquon Barkley had an incredible game, but I think if
an
Penn State
incredible
wins
runs,
that game,
too,
I think if Penn State wins that game, hands down, I think Godwin gets my offensive player of the game nod. I mean, he made some plays that changed the course of the game, momentum-wise, too, as did Barkley. But the way that Godwin was the sole target for McSorley the whole game and still could not be stopped.
I just want to say really quick how it's funny how the game started and ended the exact same
Yeah.
for McSorley.
Yeah,
That's
it
how you
really
pronounce
did.
it.
It was
So
McSorley.
McSorley. He throws the interception to start the game on a. I don't know if that was just a completely.
I think it was just miscommunication.
It was
miscommunication.
It was miscommunication.
The
Was
first
a
one?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
if
yeah.
Iman
The first
Marshall's
receiver-
getting an interception,
the
it's
first
a
receiver ran a short.
miscommunication.
The receiver ran a short route. It was intended to be a long post. It just didn't work.
And then on the very last, he had those two final throws he had were complete. I don't know what they were doing. So
boy.
he had a great game. If you just take out those like 4 passes to start and end the game, he looked amazing there. But
Like they had and then Penn State kicked it in the full drive, and then they had 7 straight touchdowns
yep.
for drives. That's crazy.
Well, so like I said, it was 13-0 SC at the end of the first quarter. And then I think going into halftime, it was 27-21 SC.
Yeah.
So
it was something like that.
Penn
Yeah.
State, they came back. But, SC's getting the ball in the second half, and they're, we're all thinking, okay, great. SC goes 3 and out. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. First drive.
We're
And-
talking about the Rose Bowl.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us in studio, Lyle Goldstein. Lyle, welcome to the studio. Silent clap.
Sorry, there's a show going on next door too.
Lyle,
Say hi, loud.
Lyle, the viewers have missed you.
What's up, guys? I missed all you too. Happy New Year.
She has
Aw.
such a raspy voice. So manly.
Hello, my friends.
Oh, really quickly, and I don't know if you guys know, but I was
Lyle's-
actually at the Rose Bowl game, so that makes this a little more fun. Josh, I know you'll never forgive me, but he's giving me the stink eye. I can just tell on the side of my face. But so I'm sitting there, the third quarter starting, and Saquon Barkley does this run. Okay, he goes on this like
Ankles.
70-yard run. where he-
Ankles.
I seeing it live, I didn't really realize how good of a run it was, and then they showed the replay on the jumbotron, and I just go, wow, like wow. I'm like, okay, crap. Okay, SC's down by a point now. Let's go get him. I don't think they went 3 and out on that drive.
I think they.
Maybe they did.
Probably had like 1 first down. That was it.
Punt or whatever. Penn State gets it on the 30-yard line.
Oh,
First play,
jeez.
the 50-yard bomb to Godwin. I don't know if it was a great catch, bad defense.
No, it
but
wasn't even a bomb. It was a. I don't want to
30,
say
40
it was a
yards.
misplay. It was that
It was a
the
broken
defensive
tackle.
back didn't make the play.
But he pretty much jumped over the guy, he catches the
Oh,
ball
yeah.
and runs. And I'm sitting there going, what? What just happened? Like, I was in shock. So then the guy next to me that was sitting next to me comes, he was in the bathroom. He's like, because when he left, we were winning, now we're down by 2 touchdowns. Like, what just happened? I'm like, Penn State just scored 2 touchdowns in 2 drives in like 2 minutes. And he's going, my goodness. I'm like, okay, it's fine. SC's only down. They're actually only down by 8 now. So I'm like, okay, touchdown, 2 point, we're back in this. It's like the second play of SC's drive. Interception. That thing's taken back to like the 2-yard line, and now I'm going, oh god.
That was such an unfortunate play too.
That was
Oh, yeah.
The guy who returned it broke his arm.
yeah.
Broke his arm on
So,
the play.
but the interception, he's not the one that even like caught it. Like some guy caught it and like bounced out of his arms, and then he got it. Then very first play, McSorley runs right into the end zone. So just like that, 3 plays, 3 touchdowns. SC doesn't score the next one. Penn State scores another touchdown. It wasn't on 1 play. It was like on 4 or 5 plays. I don't know. Next thing you know is SC is facing a major hole, and I'm just thinking, oh no. This game is over.
That's what I'm saying.
I will
Roller
admit, I thought it was
coaster of
over.
emotion.
I thought it was over. Then the fourth quarter starts.
Oh boy.
And my boy Sam Darnold, I don't know if you guys watched it or not. Is this guy not
Did
the
I
real
watch
deal?
it or not? Come on, man. Are you kidding?
Is this guy the real deal? I mean,
He went 10 for 10 in that quarter, right?
10 for 10 in the fourth quarter.
well, I want to hear your input on Sam Darnold, more so the game. What were you?
I haven't even spoken about this.
Lyle hasn't spoken on the show.
Yeah, Lyle,
It's a Rose Bowl.
talk about the game.
I have a question for you after this, Josh.
Well, if Sam Darnold wasn't on national stage by the time of the Rose Bowl. He sure is now. I mean, I looked at some 2018 mock drafts just for the hell of it down the road, and every single one has Sam Darnold at number 1 now. 500 yards and 5 touchdowns against a team like Penn State. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I was rooting for Penn State pretty hard with Spence over here, but nothing but respect for Sam Darnold and the Trojans.
Sam Darnold came to play in that quarter. Ooh,
Yeah,
boy.
those last drives. But Josh, I want to hear your input. When SC finally came back to tie, or they didn't tie it up, they were only down by a touchdown, and Penn State had the ball, 3 minutes left. What were you thinking?
Well, first off, let me say at halftime, I'm thinking this is not good. This is SC could have run away with this game, and they're not doing it, and now Penn State's right back in it. Second half, all that stuff happens, and I'm thinking, I'm not giving up hope, but I just need to watch the game. I need to put my phone away, and I need to try to focus on this game. So I put my phone away. I'm thinking, I think SC can still come back and win this game, but not as a USC fan, not as a Pac-12 fan, but as someone who has watched, say, at least 3 college football games ever. I know that Penn State is a second-half football team, and they're doing this to USC. It's incredible. I didn't understand it, but then, like you said, SC starts coming back in the game. This is the point where I take my phone back out. I'm like, all right, so now SC's getting back in this game. I'll take my phone back out. Everybody's cool. Now I can start going back. I can live tweet the
Everybody's
game.
waiting for you to tweet.
Oh, yeah. I live tweet. Blake was telling us how there's a class where you have to live tweet something. Jeez, I'm going to get an A in this course.
And for all you fans out there that don't follow Josh on Twitter, here's a little number for you. He tweeted 114 he tweeted or retweeted 114 times from the time the day started till the end of the game about USC.
To be fair, they were almost all retweets. But yes, Lyle, that was actually, I think, my most of the season. I think that was the highest total I had. But SC comes back, and Juju Smith gets this touchdown to cut the lead to, what, 7? It was 7 or 8. No, it was 6, and they would go for 2 and get it. They went for 2, and, man, this was just an ugly play. But they get it to work, and then SC gets the ball back. And this might be one of the best late drives I've seen a USC team put together. I saw them do it to Stanford a few years ago in 2013 when SC stormed the field. You got to remember the game at Ohio State when Matt Barkley was a freshman with Joe McKnight, may he rest in peace, drove down the field with Barkley. But this drive by Sam Darnold, helped out by a couple of really bad pass interference penalties taken by Penn State. I mean, penalties that you just can't be taking, especially at this point in the game. But I mean, Darnold was something else in that fourth quarter, and he drives back and he completes this pass to Deontay Burnett in triple coverage to tie the game. Perfect ball placement. And you're thinking, my initial thought is, okay, sigh of relief, but you just gave Penn State the ball with 1:30 to go, and you don't have any timeouts left.
When that happened, and USC scored that touchdown with like 1:30 remaining,
The first thing I did was look at the clock.
Yeah.
And it was
I looked at the clock and I'm
Wrap.
like, I should be freaking out right now, but I'm not.
I even texted
Penn State
Spencer.
has time.
Yeah.
They have time.
And timeouts.
And they had 2 timeouts.
Well,
I
and
believe.
Barkley returned the punt to like the 35-yard line too.
Yeah, so they got good field cover.
I remember talking to Spencer. We said they're going to drive down and kick a field goal. 1:30 is a lifetime, especially in college football.
And then
Well, then the very first play happens.
Let's
And I'm
talk about this in chronological
Okay, now,
order.
well, the first play, this one I can explain better because I was there live. I was about on the 40-yard line. So, like, as I mentioned, I was there live. I was sitting about on the 40-yard line. The very first play that they run, this guy, it was a pretty long throw he did.
Yeah, it was a.
But I'm
It's always through this
I'm
ball.
standing there, and this Penn State, I don't know who it was. It wasn't Godwin. He is wide open. There is not a single man in coverage, and I'm thinking, oh no, here it comes. But the way that he lobbed it in the air, I mean, that ball was floating. It seemed like for a good 5 seconds.
yeah.
And out of nowhere, I don't know who the USC defender was.
Was it McQuay?
He comes out of nowhere. I didn't even see him. He should have picked it off.
Yeah.
But he dropped it. And I'm looking at the USC sideline, and they're like flipping out, like thinking, like, "Oh no, what happened?" Blah blah blah.
When this play happens, this was the only part of that entire, it was quick. This was the only part of that quick possession for Penn State where I was thinking, okay, Penn State might not score on this drive. I think we're going to go to overtime because I see him make that blatant of a mistake, something where SC should have caught that ball. But that's the first time I kind of calmed down a little bit. My heart stopped racing a little bit and then said, you know what, this drive is going to be very interesting, but I'm not too worried about it.
And then the very next play happens, literally same exact play, But finally, I think it was the same guy too.
It was the same player.
He picks it off, and
Yep. Same
he
side of
just
the field.
kept running and running, set him into field goal range, and then say no more.
Matt Warmeister.
Man, the thing I hated most about that, though, that iconic moment, the photo that's going to be captured for our lifetime is him hitting the dab. Like, that's the first thing he had to do when he hit that game-winning field goal. But, man, it was... Everyone around me, though, we were thinking the same thing. This game's going to overtime.
Yeah.
This game is too good to not go to overtime.
For me, following Penn State the whole game, as you throw the ball first time, luckily didn't get picked off.
Mm-hmm.
What in the right mind?
I don't know.
Are you thinking, yo, I almost shot myself in the foot. Let's try it again.
I just don't know why they didn't hand it off to Barkley
What kind of
once during
play
that.
calling is that?
That's
I mean, the
thing,
game's
they don't give it
tied.
to Barkley after that either. I will say the second throw, yes, it was into double coverage. The throw was 10 times better than the first one. But what I don't understand is why the ball
Still
was
picked
thrown in the
off.
first place. It got picked off. It was a better throw, but why is it thrown in the first place?
I mean,
Because McCoy makes a good play on the second one.
That's
after
what I'm-
dropping the first one.
that's exactly
But
what
why
I'm
is it
saying.
thrown?
On Penn State's side, Penn State lost that game.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, USC won it, but Penn State lost that game a lot on the play coverage in that side.
I mean, if you take out the first 2 and last 2 minutes of that Rose Bowl, Trace McSorley had the game of his life in that game.
definitely.
He turned that team around in the second half. But those 4 minutes at the beginning and end of the game, I don't know what was going through his right mind, but he cost them the game. But back to Sam Darnold for a sec. What really struck me about him so much, going back to, 1, the touchdown to tie it with a minute left, and 2, a field goal to win it, he was so poised the whole time. Didn't matter that he was 19. He was 19, and
Post it.
he what's going on?
Over.
He's
I didn't
pissed.
want to be doing this right.
2-1.
I don't know where I started, but I'll just do it. Go again.
With Sam Darnold?
Yeah, Sam Darnold was just so poised in that game. It didn't matter that he was a redshirt freshman, biggest stage of his young career. He not only drove him back down the field to tie it, but even with, 45 seconds left to go, he did it again, got him back into field goal range. This is a kid, I know if I'm out there any, normal person's out there, they're thinking, oh my God, this is the biggest moment of my life. But
He
just you could
practically
see,
looked
he was not,
unfazed.
Yeah.
you saw the look on his face. Nothing
He looked-
phased
yeah,
him.
okay.
He threw that touchdown to tie the game, and he went back to the sidelines as if it was business as usual. Now,
Yeah.
that's what you're supposed to do as a quarterback, but from a 19-year-old kid, I just thought that was extremely impressive.
Act like you've been there before, and he absolutely did, and he played that off perfectly. I mean, if you look at his even family history, every single person in his family at one point or another was a college athlete, and was a top college athlete. His grandpa, great guy, great name, Dick Hammer, one of the used to be the Marlboro Man, great athlete, was a firefighter, was an actor, was absolutely everything. And then he was a firefighter and then was an actor, played a firefighter on TV, and decided to go back to being an actual fighter because he thought the real one was more fun. I mean, this kid at 19 years old wins the Rose Bowl and turns around, gives it a fist bump, and walks off the field. I've seen that from a couple professional people. Most importantly, I think of their names, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning.
He's going to be a stud to come. Great game. Really quickly, before we get to the Q&A, just want to quickly discuss a few other bowl games. That Orange Bowl, another great game, yes.
Real quick, Josh, I have one question for you about the Rose Bowl game.
Yes, Brady.
When USC came back and kicked the field goal and threw the interception, if that wouldn't have happened, though, and they caught that comeback, would you have been, I know you're a fan, but would you have been upset if they didn't win the game as a USC fan?
Obviously I would have been upset, but with the way that this game ended, with the way that USC came back into the game, and with the way that the game ended, if Penn State had won that game, say Penn State did that, or maybe drove down the field and scored on that last drive, I honestly wouldn't have had any complaints. I think, obviously, I would have been upset. My pick'em would have been wrong. That's the only pick'em game I really wanted to get right. But I think that I wouldn't have had any complaints with that game. I think it is either the first or second best Rose Bowl game of all time.
Well, it's definitely the second, considering Vince Young versus SC is the best game of all time, as we mentioned earlier in the show.
For SC fans, though, this game finally helps you get over that. Rose Bowl, I think.
No, nothing will ever.
You don't think so?
I cried myself to sleep that night. As I was mentioning, it seemed like every game kept one upping another because the National Championship was great, but before that, the Rose Bowl was supposed to be the best game. But before the Rose Bowl was supposed to be the best game of bowl season, the Orange Bowl happened, which was an incredible game. Florida State won by 1 point. That fourth quarter, Michigan came back. At halftime, I'm thinking, like, I'm at dinner with my parents. I'm like, I don't even need to watch the rest of this game because it's over. Florida State's dominating. And then slowly but surely, Michigan kind of just it's a little here and there. Next thing you know is they're taking the lead with, like, I don't know what it was, a minute and a half, 2 minutes left.
Shout out to my man Chris Evans scoring that touchdown.
Yeah, great. Yeah, and that's when he dove for it, right? Dude, great touchdown. And then Florida State, they get that kickoff. And that's when the guy's going like, no, don't. Have you seen that? He's like, don't return it. And then he just runs to like the 40-yard line, and then Florida State runs down. And I know some people, a.k.a. Josh, are kind of upset that there wasn't an offsides call at the end of the game. You can make an argument that should have been made or not. But what a game that was. It should have been, yeah. But
Like, for me, that game, I got to give my hat to Wilton Spade.
oh yeah,
Because
it's a shame.
I believe-
forgot about this game.
I believe that he threw away the Ohio State game. Legitimately threw away the Ohio State
He
game.
threw for like less than 100 yards in that game or
3
something.
picks nearly so in the red zone. But and then he didn't have a great first half. Then second half, switch
Without Jake Butt.
without Jake Butt too. He snaps and Michigan is right back in this game. Like,
I'm sure we'll touch on that on another show, but yeah, I felt, despite how great of a game it was, I just felt absolutely terrible for Jake Butt, a guy who was going to be a first or second round pick with that tough ACL injury. You know, you hate to see that happen, especially in your last game.
But man, like, I haven't really even felt it. I haven't even, yeah, we can talk about that later in the Q&A, but this was an amazing game, but because of the Rose Bowl National Championship, everyone's going to forget about it. Like, this was one of the best Orange Bowls that we've ever. We got one of the best Orange Bowls we've ever gotten. One of the best Rose Bowls we've ever gotten. Dalvin Cook. Coming into the game, Leonard Fournette was the #1 rated running back. He probably still is, but did Dalvin Cook not prove a lot of people wrong by saying this guy might be the best running back? His draft stock, and I think I texted this to you guys too with all my little emojis. What a game! But that fourth quarter though, man, I was getting into it. Like, I was legit getting into it, mainly because especially when I picked Florida State to win that game, so we had a lot on the line. But that was a good game. Congrats to the Seminoles. Really quick with you guys, any other bowl games that you guys watched that you guys just want to touch up on that were some good games?
Well, that Armed Forces Bowl was really fun to watch, too. There were some great plays in that one, too. But I think you have to give the tip of the cap, if not to Clemson, if not to Florida State, if not to USC, you got to tip your cap to Virginia Tech.
Yes. I was watching this game, and then at halftime I had to go to my family's for dinner. It was 24-0 Arkansas, and I'm thinking, geez, man, I should have picked Arkansas to win. Oh well, we'll get them next time. So now I'm like, it's like an hour later. We're getting ready for dinner, and I get a notification on my phone saying that Virginia Tech won the game, and I'm thinking, what? How is that possible? So I went home, watched the highlights. They scored 35 unanswered points.
Incredible.
I mean, I wish I could have watched that comeback live because that's insane.
I saw parts of it because I'm at my girlfriend's house. We're having dinner, and my phone's going off in my pocket. And I pull it out just like squeak it out of my pocket and look at it, and I say, there's another bowl pick I'm not going to get. And then, and then I got to go somewhere with my dad. We go to a Rose Bowl game rally in Pasadena, and I'm pulling out my phone, and I'm seeing they're coming back in this game. There's no way. So we turn it on ESPN radio, hear the game-tying touchdown, then they take the lead, and then we hear them expand the lead. And my dad and I are just sitting there going, this is unreal. I'm going to win this game, Dad.
Yeah, I watched a little, and I mean, you guys took the words right out of my mouth. I turned it off, close to the end of the first half when it was an absolute blowout in favor of Arkansas. But as soon as I start to see 24-21, I'm like, man, Virginia Tech's got some fight in them. And I turn it back on, and I can't believe what I'm watching, like you guys already said. And not only did they take the lead, you think Arkansas will probably bounce back from this. But no, they kept adding on to it, and it was incredible. Not as many people are going to know about it because it was only the Belk Bowl, but it was definitely one of the best bowl games of the season.
Is that the bowl game where I think it was, I don't remember if it was Virginia Tech or Arkansas, where like their starting, I think it was tight end, got suspended from the game for
stealing.
from stealing from Belk. So I thought that was kind of funny. But
How stupid can you be?
just another bowl game that I thought was fantastic, and I'm kind of happy about this one because I'm the only one that picked it, was the Louisiana Tech Navy game. First of all, I think that game was high scoring.
Now that was Armed Forces, correct?
I think it was the Armed Forces,
Yeah,
was it?
it was
I couldn't remember which one it was.
TC in Fort Worth, right?
I think it was. But my goodness, Carlos Henderson and Trent Taylor out of Louisiana Tech, they came ready to play, and and when it's bowl season, all you want to see is lack of defense and points, and that's what we got in that game. But guys, just really quickly before we wrap it up, were there any other bowl games that were exciting to watch, that caught your eyes, surprised you, made you cry, made you laugh, made you smash your TV in half? Did that just rhyme?
You
I think
bet
it
you
did.
did.
All right, Spencer, what did you
I'm
got?
gonna say I forgot what bowl game this was, low key, but the one with Donnell Pumphrey and Houston.
Oh, San Diego State, Houston.
Yeah,
Las Vegas Bowl.
Las Vegas Bowl. Because thanks to San Diego, Donnell Pumphrey, count him on the list, is now all-time or second all-time.
Well, officially
'Cause they count
all-time,
bowl
but
game.
unofficially he's number 2. But that was a good game.
It's cool seeing that milestone being broken, though.
But there were a lot of great bowl games. But guys, I was gonna do this one earlier in the show when we were talking about the games. But since Lyle's officially back now, I can unveil the Pick'em finale standings.
God, after bowl season, I probably did not win.
Neither did I.
Coming in 5th place with a score of 87 points is yours truly, Brady. Brady, take a bow.
He stood up before he even.
He already knew that we got last. But hey, Brady, there's always next year, okay? Coming in 4th place with 89 points is me with...
No way!
Brady high-fived me.
See, the funny thing is, like, I got a lot of the pick'ems for the show. But the only problem was, though, I did the same thing I did earlier. When all 4 of you picked one team, I went along and picked the other. So, unfortunately, that just happened. With 92 points in 3rd place is Josh. He made a nice little late comeback right here. So now it comes down to Spencer and Lyle. Now, at one point in the pick'em, because I think Lyle went into this with like a 10 or 9 point lead. At one point, after like about 20 bowl games, it was tied. So Spencer's Lyle, you were messing up at the beginning of the bowl
You're gonna
pick'ems.
announce first place first, right?
You were messing him up. We'll see what I announce. But at one point, with about 15, 20 games to go, it was tied. And one of these two took off and just ended with a commanding lead. Ladies and gentlemen, your first ever annual Harris Highlights Pick'em leader is Lyle with 104 points. Spencer, you ended up with 98. Some of those...
Didn't even break 100?
You didn't even break 100. It was... You had a great comeback, but unfortunately, Lyle, just, too many correct picks.
Remember that one week where I got like 13 or 14 and you guys were all going against me?
So Lyle...
What does Lyle get?
He gets pride. Lyle gets
Swift
pride.
kicking and ads.
Lyle gets pride. So, Lyle, congratulations. Enjoy this for the next year because I know we're going to be coming back strong to get those pick'ems.
Air high five.
So, way to go, Lyle. It is time for the Q&A, the portion of the show where you guys ask us the questions and we give our best answers. I screenshotted a lot of them. Tony wants to know, was the Big Ten overrated because of their overall performance in the bowl games?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
They were one of the worst. I think out of all the conferences, I think the MAC
The MAC did buns.
was the one that did worse than them, but overall they were the worst.
Oh, yeah.
The SEC was pretty pathetic too.
How do you feel about Deshaun Watson not winning Heisman? Against Lamar Jackson, I feel he's better than him hands down.
You say that now at the end of the season, I think everyone agrees with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think
it's
so.
easy to say that in hindsight. But you know what? If you're Deshaun Watson, you just won a national championship and finished second in the Heisman.
Not even mad.
I mean, how much more can you ask for?
Yeah.
Pretty much every other sport, the MVP is given out before the playoffs start. So, you can't really do that. I mean, let's say Lamar Jackson, beats LSU and throws for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Are you still saying Deshaun Watson deserves it? So, that's kind of really a tough one to say. Do you think Oregon can win 8 games next year?
No.
I think they can. Justin Herbert's on the uprise. So.
I say yes.
Not including Chattanooga, who is the national championship favorite for next season?
Chattanooga. There's no one else.
Not including Chattanooga Brady.
Natachuga.
I mean, I'm just.
You have to give it to Clemson.
I mean,
No,
no, not with Watson.
No,
not
good
with
point.
Watson leaving, Mike
I-
Williams leaving. No.
Shut up, Lyle. I see.
Okay,
Love
ow,
you.
I felt that
They don't
from
make
here.
the playoff.
Um,
Unfortunately.
I hate saying this. but USC.
I
honestly think USC.
I gotta go with Bama. Is it vanilla? Yes. Is it plain? Yes. But does it happen every year? Yeah. So I'm saying Bama.
I'm gonna
It's
say
very chocolate.
I'm going to go. I mean, with Alabama, you got to constantly have them as the favorite. A lot of the questions that we did get were our top 4 way too early predictions. We'll get into those next week for the show. But I think for national...
Who did Alabama just pick up? Like Sanjay Harris?
Who knows who they picked up? They've been picking up a lot of people.
Jamondre Harris.
Will Michigan State pick it up back next season?
Yeah. I think it's going to be a rebuilding year. But, yeah, they're going to pick it up from how bad they were this year.
I'm not so sure. I think they have an improvement on last season, but I don't know if they get back to what they were 2 years ago when they made the playoffs.
That's what I just said.
How will Jake Browning fare without John Ross?
He'll be fine.
He'll still have a decent year, but it's not just John Ross. He's losing Dante Pettis too. So it's gonna be a different offense for UW next year. That doesn't, not to take anything away from Jake Browning, but I don't think he's gonna be a Heisman favorite all season long, kind of like he was this year.
Wide receivers don't make a quarterback. A quarterback makes a wide receiver.
And unfortunately, I'm not feeling. I feel like he's going to end up a lot like Josh Rosen. Of course, I hope he doesn't get hurt, but I think he's going to come in maybe with a little bit of like high expectations and just not live up to them.
I like this next question. Now, this one's going to be all bias aside. If you had to pick one, would you build a team around Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, or Sam Darnold?
I'm gonna go
I'm gonna
with.
say Jalen Hurts.
I'm gonna go with Hurts, barely over Darnold, and only because the mobility factor for me is what is key. Jalen Hurts is more of a dual threat, which is why I like him just slightly more, but not to take anything away from the other two.
I mean, reminding you that he's younger than us,
Mm-hmm.
so possibly that he's gonna stay a couple more years at Alabama before like he declares or.
Well, he has at least another 2 years in him.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. But if you give him a lot more experience, a lot more experience under the belt type of thing, he's looking good. Edit that out. I was trash.
This is really tough, I think, because obviously, as an SC fan, I want to say Darnold, and I also don't want to say Darnold. But I think you look at USC. Of course, Alabama, I still believe is the best team in the country. But I think if you look at USC's offense, I firmly believe that they have the most well-rounded and stacked wide receiving core in the country. I think they have a pretty solid run game with the 3 backs that they have. It's their 3 top backs. So I want to say Darnold because I feel like they've already built a solid offense around him. Unfortunately, Juju's
Doesn't this say
leaving.
you let you start your franchise with this quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
not just work around the team?
Yeah.
For me, it's
I know.
For me, I'm not even thinking about Lamar Jackson at all. It's between Hurts and Darnold. I think Lamar Jackson kind of got exposed to the second half of the season. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, earlier, I was talking with Brady and we had the Johnny Manziel comparison. I think that's spot on.
If we're gonna replace Lamar with Deshaun in that conversation, would that make a difference?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, where would he rank though?
See, this is
Out of
the
that top
thing is,
That makes it a harder question.
it's not
to answer.
asking about best quarterback. It's asking who would you start your team with. So, like I said, it's between Darnold and Hurts. But there's something about Darnold. I think it's impossible really to get better, but I think he's going to be so good. I think Hurts, he'll be a good quarterback, but he's not going to be the number 1 pick in the draft or the Heisman favorite I think Darnold's going to be. Is Deshaun Watson one of the best to never win a Heisman?
That is so tough to do.
Yeah.
Because you look at
Yeah.
a guy. I'm just saying this because he was great in college, and Peyton Manning didn't win a Heisman. Tom Brady didn't win a Heisman.
Vince Young, he wasn't great in the pros, but Vince Young didn't win
Reggie
a Heisman.
Bush didn't win a Heisman.
He won a Heisman. I don't care what you say. That boy won a Heisman Trophy.
I think we're going to have to see how his NFL career pans out. If he's talking about just college.
With Heisman though, the Heisman regards just college.
Let's not consider NFL careers aside. Let's just
right.
consider college careers.
It's so tough to figure out.
That's such a good question though, because that could be a topic for a show. Best players to never win the Heisman.
I mean, he's got to be up there. He came in 3rd 2 years ago, or last year, and then 2nd this year. So he's got to be somewhere in the conversation.
With this, saying this, he has been my Heisman favorite the past 2 years, and he hasn't won it. He also just won the national championship in the coolest way, and he lost last year. So me personally, I agree with Brady. This is an extremely difficult question to answer. I think it's nearly impossible. But for me personally, the way that I've viewed him the last 3 years, I'm going to say yes. That's, of course, just my opinion.
I love this next question. This one guy always comments. He's a huge Boston College fan, and his comments always crack me up. How do you feel about the mighty Boston College Eagles proving all the critics like yourself wrong and defeating those little girls over there at Maryland?
I'll tell you one thing. The Boston College defensive line had so many deflections in that game. It was impressive. But I kid you not, the way that Maryland played that game, I would not feel too strongly if you were a Boston College fan. Don't feel too proud of that win. I'm just going to say that.
I think I was texting Josh during this game thinking, this has to be one of the worst quarterback performances I have ever seen.
Trubinsky?
What?
Oh.
Well, didn't Trubinsky play bad, too?
The way this Maryland quarterback was playing, like, that, I mean, it was him, but also that Boston College D-line. The amount of sacks, I think it was like 7, 8, or 9 sacks they had that game. So, I mean, credit to Boston College, but that,
Yeah, but, I mean,
that quarterback was
the fact that Maryland was given opportunities and couldn't do anything with them, again, all the credit in the world to that Boston College defensive line, but I firmly believe that the reason Boston College won that game is without a doubt because Maryland had opportunities and could not do anything with them. They had first and goal from the 1-yard line like 2 or 3 times in the fourth quarter and didn't score. That was a terrible game.
This guy wants to know is, how will Western Michigan fare next season? Can they keep this up? Right off the bat, I hate to say it, but they're going to be starting the season 0-1. Okay, they're going to the Coliseum. They're going to face a hot SC team. But like I said, when they scheduled this game like 6 or 7 or 8 years ago, who would have thought that this actually would have been a good game?
Yeah.
But
I think it's going to be tough for them. Corey Davis, gone. P.J. Fleck, their head coach, going to Minnesota.
An
Interesting
interesting hire, by the way, too.
What they did this season was obviously incredible, but I think next season could be tough for them. They might have been a little bit of a one-hit wonder.
I think they're a one-hit wonder. I think they'll run the table in their conference, but I mean, especially in their non-conference games, I don't see it happening at all.
how do you think Houston will fare without Tom Herman? We already saw that with the bowl loss to San Diego State, and they look terrible.
Here's what they need to do. First of all, they need to change conferences. In conference, I think they'll be okay.
It's not like it's just that easy.
It's not going to happen. I mean, of course, it's not that easy, but they need to switch conferences. They need to get some tougher competition. But I don't think it happens for them either.
Especially with Greg Ward gone, too.
I think they struggle.
I think they're going downhill next year.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Aside from, the basic, the national championship, the Rose Bowl, which team impressed you the most with a bowl win this bowl season?
Florida State.
That's a good one, yeah.
Florida State.
I'm going to go a little less mainstream and say San Diego State.
What was the question one more time, Blake?
Which team impressed you the most with a bowl win this season, aside
Utah.
from the main ones? Utah, that was a tough Indiana loss. I'm sorry about that one. Yes, Spencer?
Minnesota.
Against Washington State, that one was very surprising
Minnesota
as well.
played very well.
I thought they were going to not show up at all.
I could say Miami.
Literally, Miami, too, against West Virginia, they took them down.
It was a good bowl season. It really was. There were a lot of entertaining games. There were a lot of surprising games, too.
Hell, even South Alabama put up a fight against Air Force for the first half.
Yep.
That came
All right. So that one, he wanted to know what we were most impressed by. What was the most shocking bowl game this season?
Honestly, it's so mainstream, but I'm going to say the national championship only because, especially after Bama took the lead, I like Watson, but the way it happened and the way it ended was just so shocking. I didn't think it was really going to happen. It was almost too perfect of a way for it to end, so that's my pick.
Regardless of who wins that first playoff game, I don't think anyone expected it to be 31-0. And for it to be 31-0 Clemson, I think that has to take my top spot for most surprising.
Do you believe that Trubisky is the true number one quarterback prospect?
Overall quarterback, I say yes. Not a dual
Not
threat.
best. Is he the best quarterback? No. But NFL ready, I'd say.
I'm not so sure. I mean, he looked terrible in that Stanford game, first off. And I don't want to have any Notre Dame bias. And believe me, I have some problems with DeShone Kizer myself because he takes way longer than any human being should to throw the ball. But
Danny Wilkins.
But the rest of Kaiser's tools are pretty great. He can throw the deep ball so well. He's mobile. He's huge. I think he has the most upside. I don't think Trubisky is as good as people hype him up to be.
I'm being biased only because I've never seen him play, but I'm just reading on Bleacher Report and everything like that. But Josh Allen from Wyoming, people have him going high, and I want to know why. So I'm obviously gonna look in the play.
Sounds like I need to make a highlight tape for him then, if that's what you're saying.
Well, I mean, if you're planning on doing
It's
it,
waiting
I
for
might
us.
as well.
Well, unfortunately, that wraps everything up. There was 190 questions or so I mean, sadly, we have no time to get to them all. But like as I mentioned earlier, we will be back next week and the week after that and every coming week until May. So if you have any questions for us, feel free to hit us up. Twitters are in the description below. Just a quick little roundabouts again. Jack A. Naples 2, you are the winner of Bowl Mania, so screenshot that you won and hit me up on some sort of social media so that way you can claim your prize. Potential merchandise, link will be in the bio as well. We'll let you guys know how that's going. And as we mentioned, the award show, link in the, it seems like every link is in the bio. Please go vote on that. Like we mentioned, takes 1 or 2 minutes. Some fun awards that we had some creativity with, so please vote for that. Once again, congratulations on winning the pick'ems. Still think you somehow cheated a little, but hey, we'll see what we can do about that next year. Like I said, until next week, this has been the Harris Highlights Show. I don't even know how to end this anymore because I can't say enjoy a great week of college football because there's none to watch now. So I guess just spend all your time watching my highlight videos and that's good enough for us, right?
Join us next week. I mean, we're going to have some fun things to talk about throughout this postseason.
That's going to be
off season.
Like, oh yeah, we're going to have some great topics. But if there's a topic you want us to discuss, leave a comment below. You know,
in regards to college football or anything.
College football.
College football. I mean, well, if there's a good cereal out there that you think I should buy, that would be nice to hear as well.
I'm sure we'll do a little bit of NFL draft stuff too because it involves so many of these players we've talked about throughout the year. So that and other things, if you guys want to hit us up with any ideas, let us know.
Yeah, once again, thanks for watching. We are available on SoundCloud, so listen to us. Give this video a thumbs up. And now Lyle and I are going to go work out and get huge and swole. And that's it. Have a great night, everyone.